level out of the 63 PG MOOCs developed under the aegis of UGC. And this has been again a effort which is recognized at the national level when 2015 the SWAYAM portal was launched. The concept of teachers e-kit, maybe some of you, if you are aware, this is my own concept, and more than 2,000 teachers are also working in this direction. So those who are interested, we will be also giving you brief know-how about this. And from 2016 to 2020, we were doing face-to-face programs. But then since 1st April 2020, we went online because of the corona pandemic. And the team who actually was training the technical things which are required for the empowerment of teachers, right from 2 decades, not the corona time only, from 2 decades, realized that how this technology impact can be exponential in terms of the reach to nook and corner of our country. And from 2016 to 20, I'm happy to share the statistics that we touched more than 9,000 teachers, but from April 2020 till 31st March 2024, we have now touched around 95,000 teachers. So this is what the technology can really make, and we all have to be taking it in a very, very positive way. We also have the mandate of ARPIT programs for chemistry. And in 2018, 19, and 20, we have conducted these programs. Prior to Corona, these was online, but now they are discontinued. And under this banner, we are developing teachers e-kit in chemistry topic. And out of 42 subjects, our content as well as the enrollments have been rated amongst the top. Because of this ground level effort by our entire team, GAD-TLC was selected as one of the 45 centers selected out of around 100 centers of PMMT scheme. And now all of these are called as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center. So Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center are now the new name which all of you should be knowing. The earlier UGC HRDCs, which are prior to that called as academic staff colleges, are now all along with the selected PMMT centers are called as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center. And any promotional requirement, whether it is these NEP equivalent to 1 week FDP, or it is the full-fledged FDP programs, or the refresher course, or the faculty induction program, which are equivalent to orientation course, have to be done only under this banner. Otherwise, the promotional requirement, even including for the private institutions, cannot be met as per the CAS 2018 guidelines. And the vision of this new phase is to build competencies in the faculty for better teaching, learning, and research by exposing them to Indian values, updating knowledge and skills, aligning teaching, learning, and research with the needs of the society and NEP 2020. I think this vision itself says it all, that our roles in all the front, how we have to be improving upon and how we have to be empowering our students towards the society betterment. And that is what is the crux of NEP 2020. And in this program, all the dimensions of NEP will be covered. So now, as on date, there are 116 such centers. Initially, 111 were initiated. And these are the various programs that we have the mandate to conduct. Coming to this particular NEP training, which is called as the NEP Sensitization and Orientation Program, it is equivalent to 1 week FDP, but this is going to be delivered in 8 days, 3 hours each, and this is only and only an online mode program. And there are 10 modules, which are holistic and multidisciplinary education, Indian knowledge system and multilingualism, academic leadership, governance and management. Then there is a module on higher education and society, research and development, skill development, student diversity and inclusive education, information and communication technology, autonomy to the institution, choice to the student, and curriculum development, pedagogy, and assessment. So the sessions will be delivered around these. Earlier, there were only 8 modules, so there were 2 sessions for each, but now there are 10 modules, and within those 16 sessions of 8 day, we will be adjusting all these. And depending of the depth, some sessions may be combined, some we will be taking in more elaborate as per our entire team's understanding. So in this program, starting from today, that is 14th May 2024, it will go till 24th May 2024. And the quizzes will be conducted on Sunday after 24, that will happen on 26th May 2024. And if we look at the very important requirements of completion to get the certificate, there are 3 overall parameters. One is the compliance to the attendance and your participation. So around that, the marks will be given, but attendance is something compulsory. Fine. I can see Professor Bakshi sir also here. I welcome Professor Bakshi sir. Good evening, sir. Thank you. So we have the attendance and participation, which will be counted combination of your Zoom live sessions and the feedback analysis. Every session will be a feedback form will be given to you, and there are 3 takeaways. So please keep a paper and pen along with you, or if you are more tech savvy, you can keep on writing the points in your digital gadgets, and we'll be marking you out of 20. There will be 2 quizzes. Both of them will be automatically graded. They will be online quiz, fine. And one will be based on module 1 to 4 and 9, and other will be based on module 5 to 8 and 10. And overall marks, you can see 100, and the qualifying marks will be 50. So this is how the 2 quizzes modules are segregated, but then they will be, you can do it in the same day, doesn't matter, fine. And this is how the certificate will look like. We will be obviously putting the revised date. So this is the very first batch that we had done. So this is how the certificate template, which has been designed by UGC, it will be used. And session-wise feedback will be there. So don't miss to fill 16 session-wise feedback, and one more feedback will be there, which will be the overall feedback, and feedback is compulsory. Please ensure that you are not missing. So we will be sharing it in the Zoom session. The overall feedback will be shared to you in WhatsApp group, but the session-wise feedback will be strictly shared in the Zoom, and that can be done at random way. The certificate of participation will be given only when all the parameters are fully completed. So don't think that giving one quiz, I'll be able to complete the 50. No, don't do that. All of the 3 parameters are required, and the decision of our center will be final in this regard. And now coming to the start of the first session, because in this we have a very tight schedule, and right from 5 to 8, we have not kept any inaugural that way, because it's every month we are conducting 2 programs. So the first session itself will be the keynote session, I'll say. And before I invite Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, one line of disclaimer that please, any copyright of the session is of respective speaker. It is not of the center. And without a prior written consent, you cannot use or upload or stream his or her content either as full video or screenshot or publish in any other form. So please keep strict, and other way around also, if there is any factually wrong information or some sensitive saying is there, then again the responsibility also goes to the speaker. So we will make the disclaimer in that thing, and let us go ahead now. So coming to the very first session, which will be taken by our mentor, Professor Bakshi sir. And let me briefly introduce before I invite him. Although he doesn't need any introduction, but then it is always motivating to know how the stalwarts like Professor Bakshi or Professor Ved Prakash have reached to this stage. And it is always motivating for all others to see what all type of activities they have been engaged into. So Professor Bakshi, as I told you, he is Sir Shankar Lal Professor of Chemistry and founding VC of PDM University, Bahadurgarh. He has also been Executive Director of Tertiary Education Commission, Mauritius, and also Vice Chancellor of UP RTOU, Allahabad. He has also been head of the Department of Chemistry, also director of CPDHE and director of Institute of Lifelong Learning. And that's where my association with Sir started in 2008, when we did collective work for the e-learning in Delhi University in 2008. He has also been visiting professor at GGS-IP University in Delhi. Professor Bakshi has also been the chairman of GAD-TLC and member of Standing Committee of National Mission on Education through ICT. He was also the chairman of the Content Advisory Committee for Chemistry for Sakshat portal of MHRD. Just like Swam, the very first initiative, which was this portal was launched by IGNOU under the aegis of MHRD, Government of India, where the digital content was collated and made available to the students and teachers. A double gold medalist, a record breaker, and recipient of several awards and academic honors, Professor Bakshi has been felicitated 2 times for his outstanding contribution to education by the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Professor Bakshi is the co-author of nearly 200 research articles and education articles, a patent, to name a few. He has also written many books, e-books, e-modules as author, co-author, editorial board, and also especially for the EPG Pathshala chemistry course and ARPIT programs of MHRD. Professor Bakshi is one of the most sought after speakers in the country, having delivered more than 400 invited lectures in the last 4 years, and the number is day by day increasing, and at also various national and international platforms. He has been a member of National Writing Team for Chemistry 11th and 12th books of NCERT. So you can see the wide exposure, not only in terms of administration, research, teaching at PG level, UG level, as well as the writing the content and guiding training of teachers at the school level. He was also elected the president of Section of Chemical Sciences by of the Indian Science Congress Association, a prestigious body. And he has also been a member of various committees of national and international importance. He was also recently felicitated by the Union Minister Smriti Zubin Irani for his outstanding contribution in the professional development of teachers of the country. And he is also one of the first persons from universities of India to have been selected as a member scientist of 3rd Indian research expedition to Antarctica. And this expedition built India's permanent base, Dakshin Gangotri, in Antarctica. I think this is something unique for an academician. So congratulations, sir. So many laurels in your profile, and I welcome you once again to take your session.
Thank you very much, Professor Vimal, for your very kind words of introduction. But I must say that in this journey, you have also contributed significantly, especially in the context of integration of technology with education. We have worked as a team and reached this level. So your contribution is no less important. And I can also see Dr. Vinita Kapoor present here. Welcome to you also, Vinita.
Good evening.
And last but not the least, all the participants from the country, whom I extend my warm greetings for this new program starting today. And I would request all the participants to kindly keep their videos on, because this is the requirement of the UGC. And we may have to take shots in between. So this is a request to all of you.
Yeah, randomly my team is taking screenshots. So please keep on your videos. In between, slightly you can go if there is something urgency. But
and you know, it looks more lively. Otherwise, it looks as if you're speaking to nameplates. So that it should not. Anyway, coming to this talk, before I start this. Hello? Yes.
Shrutika Aurangzeb, please make the provision that right now only the co-host will be with the audio on. Mute others.
So before I start my talk, let me share my screen. See, this is the inaugural talk, and in this talk, I shall cover about the various challenges in higher education in India, which the teachers are going to face, and that in the light of NEP 2020. So this talk is going to be very, very useful for each one of you, because it will tell you in which directions you all need to work if you want to be successful in this 21st century. So that is the title of my talk. And as you can see that this is going to be a motivational talk based on NEP 2020 with the aim to empower higher education teachers to enable them to succeed and thrive in the 21st century. And believe you me, it can prove to be a game changer for each one of you. You have to just attend and act accordingly as per the needs of the times. And this entire talk is based on my conceptualization and experience. And it won't be wrong if I say that it will prepare you for facing the challenges in your profession as well as in your personal life. The thinking behind the talk is, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So it would be like teaching you how to fish. This talk is in two parts. In part A, which is an introductory part, I will talk about the salient features of NEP 2020 and the traditional roles of the teacher. See, what is the spirit behind National Education Policy 2020? Let's try to understand that. But before we go into that, since it is an education policy, please remember that education is relevant and of quality only when it is able to serve the needs of the changing society. Otherwise, education has no meaning. So it must change as per the changing times or as per the changing needs of the society. And in the 21st century, world is changing very, very fast. And it is mainly due to technological advancements that these changes are taking place. Therefore, this National Education Policy 2020 proposes various reforms in education that are suited to 21st century needs. And you know, this policy is a visionary document which expresses the aspirations of the nation and aims at making India a global knowledge superpower and global study destination. Now, what do we mean by global knowledge superpower? See, we should not only become superpower in knowledge dissemination, that is teaching, learning, but we should also become superpowers in knowledge creation, and that is research. And in respect of research, we are still lagging behind. But this aims at making this knowledge superpower, both in terms of dissemination and creation of knowledge. And the second is global study destination. Our higher educational institutions should be so good that students from all over the world flock to India for their higher studies. That is the meaning of global study destination. But it means we have to work a lot. So these are the two major aims, and NEP 2020 proposes to achieve these goals by making education more holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. See, these 3 points are very important: holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. When I say holistic, it means it should aim at overall development of the students, not only mental, physical, spiritual, everything, overall holistic development. And when I say flexible, this policy offers many flexible features in terms of, for example, academic bank of credits and many other features. They are there. And then it also talks about multidisciplinary education. We will talk about this little later. And you know, this entire policy is based on 5 very important pillars. Look at them: access, quality, equity, affordability, and accountability. These are the 5 pillars on which this NEP 2020 stands. Access basically means various features of NEP 2020, ultimately aim at expanding the reach of higher education. More and more people should be able to pursue higher education. Then quality education should be disseminated. And this education should be imparted with equity. Equity means social justice. And then affordable also it should be. And there should also be accountability. So these are the 5 pillars of NEP 2020. As I just mentioned, holistic development. So it includes physical, emotional, mental, and social development. And when I say equity, you can see on the right side, equity is different from equality. Equity does justice, social justice. You can see. Equality may not do. So equity is an important feature of NEP 2020. And why I am empowering teachers? Why this talk is on empowering teachers? Because, the quality of an education system can never exceed the quality of its teachers. So if you want to enhance the quality of an education system, you must raise the competence level of the teachers. You must empower them. And once they are empowered, then the quality will automatically enhance. And once these teachers are empowered, they in turn will empower their students. And that's how the whole process will work. Please remember, our greatest natural resource is the minds of our children, the young students who come to us. They are our very big asset. India is one of the youngest nations of the world. 50% population less than 25 years, 65% population less than 35 years. So it's a very big demographic dividend, a big advantage India has. The prudence demands that we should reap this advantage, because this advantage will also not stay for many years. By 2040, it will go. So we have very few years left to encash it. We need to ready our children for future challenges. And to a great extent, responsibility rests with you, the teachers. Please remember, students may be 25% of our population, but then they are 100% of our future. This is something we should not forget. And a child miseducated is a child lost. We cannot afford to lose even a single child. No talent of the country should go waste. Therefore, our education system should be such. That is why it is said learner-centric education we should follow, so that the interests of each learner are taken into account and we don't lose any child. Having said that, now I will come to the traditional roles of a teacher in higher education. See, these are the three major roles of a teacher in higher education: to disseminate knowledge, that is teaching, then create knowledge and guide research, that is research part, and third is, of course, academic administration and management. And then a teacher is expected to excel in all these three roles. But you know, all of us are fulfilling these roles, but whether we are successful or not, or whether we are able to excel or not, that varies from individual to individual. Please remember, if you want to be an outstanding teacher or a researcher, you should have a very sound and deep knowledge in your discipline. You should be very good in practical work. You should have the passion to become an outstanding teacher. You should have clarity of concept, and your teaching should reflect the amount of thinking you have done on the subject. See, all this is very easy to say, but very difficult to implement. Many of us lack in these qualities. That is why sometimes we are not able to make a mark. And then for an outstanding researcher, besides what I have said, you need to be also an out-of-box thinker. You should have an analytical mind, break any problem into various parts and then link them. You should be innovative and creative. And then 4 C's. That means courage, commitment, curiosity, and creativity. All these are very, very important for research. And you know, these qualities don't come overnight. These have to be nurtured from very young age. Many of us, if we are not able to do good in research, we lack in some of these qualities. And then, both for an outstanding teacher and researcher, you should have excellent communication and presentation skills. See, these are very important for a teacher also, very important. How? Because every day you are at a test. How you communicate in the class, how you present your work, how you deliver your lecture. Because the way you speak, that reflects the way you think. So how logical and systematic that is, that will determine how good you are in communication and presentation skills. And please remember, no one will really take the pains to listen to your ideas until and unless your communication is effective and impressive. You have to become very impressive. The audience should feel captivated by your speech. That should be the level to which you bring your skills. And please remember, all the great speakers were bad speakers at first, but then they worked hard in that direction, because skills are always practical. The more you practice, the better you become. So you can always become better in teaching skills by what I have said in these few slides. Having said that, now I come to the real second part, where I will talk about what are going to be the challenges in the 21st century for the teachers. And you know, here there are many challenges. The first challenge, which I think is the challenges of the present information age. See, we are living in an information age where you can get any information just by a click of a mouse. But then this age puts many challenges. First is that this is an age of uncertainty with respect to jobs. What does it mean? You know, there is a very famous Future of Jobs report published by the World Economic Forum. The conclusion from this report is, we are not sure where our children will be employed tomorrow once they have finished their education. Maybe that those jobs are not existing even at present. So that way there is going to be an age of uncertainty with respect to jobs. Then this is an age of mass education. Every institution is trying to increase the gross enrollment ratio. See, this is an age where more students over the next 30 years will graduate than since the beginning of the recorded history. So what does it mean? That means there are already very few traditional jobs, but then there are going to be many takers. That will create a tough competition. And the third is age of artificial intelligence. This is an age where artificial intelligence will equal the intelligence of the students by the time they finish their formal education. So what does it mean? It means that if I can have machines with the same intelligence as you, then why do I need you? So that is going to be a challenge. And you all know artificial intelligence is already transforming the world. All these jobs which are of repetitive or predictable nature, which require no critical thinking, no critical analysis, no research base, no specialization, all these jobs are going to be in danger. And the danger is coming from artificial intelligence or automation or robotics. Look at the picture. A robot is working along with other humans. That is going to be the picture of the future. And here, there is a perceptible threat to the teaching profession also, if it is just of a routine type. Please remember, this is going to be a big challenge for teachers also. Because now there are multiple sources of knowledge. There was a time when teacher used to be the only source of knowledge, but not now. Therefore, one has to be very careful. And therefore, there is going to be an increasing importance of research in the years to come. And look at this picture. This is the picture of the brain. Now it is said that in view of this tremendous impact artificial intelligence is having, humans may not be required for the so-called left brain functions. And what are the left brain functions? Look at them. Language, numbers, logic, analytical thinking, etc. So, because anything that can be measured by numbers can be solved by AI models. So the focus in future is going to be on right brain functions. And the right brain functions are creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, all that. Because machines cannot replicate them. And this was a recent report by Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla, who said that AI systems will in future be smarter than the smartest human on the earth, probably by next year or by 2026. So you can see artificial intelligence is going to become smarter than the smartest human. So one has to be aware of all these things. But AI has many positive sides also. Look at this. This was a positive side of AI. This newspaper report came in April 2024, Times of India. How artificial intelligence foiled monkey attack. Monkey attack a girl, and the girl spoke to Alexa, bark like a dog. And it started barking, and then monkeys fled away. That was just the use of AI systems. So there are many more things, but I want to tell you how AI is going to transform the world. So in the light of these challenges, your challenge as a teacher is now going to be what to teach, how to teach, so that our children are successful in a future which is so uncertain. That's going to be a big question mark before us. The second challenge in the 21st century is sustainable development goals. See, everybody these days is talking about sustainable development. It is the burning issue in the world at present. What do we mean by sustainable development? Sustainable development means the development which can be maintained for a long time, keeping in view the interests of the future generations. And why we are concerned about sustainable development? Because of these problems, these challenges. Population is exploding. Today we have world population 8 billion. By 2050, we will have 9.7 billion. So, more population means more pressure on resources. There is going to be a fast depletion of resources, including food, minerals, and other natural resources. Water scarcity is going to be another issue in the world. FAO already has said that by 2025, 1.8 billion people would be facing acute water scarcity. There is also a problem of environmental degradation. And then climate change, rising sea levels, increase in atmospheric temperature, which the whole world is witnessing. So who will address to these challenges? It is the education system only will have to address if we want to create a sustainable future. That is why United Nations in 2015, keeping in view all these issues, gave 17 sustainable development goals for achieving them by 2030 in the form of a United Nations Agenda 2030. So 193 countries signed this agreement, including India, that these are the 17 goals which every country should make efforts so that these are achieved by 2030. Why United Nations did not give any roadmap? Because, the world is full of diversity and the nature of problem will vary from region to region and the nature of the solution will also vary therefore. So nothing concrete can be given. And look at these goals. These are no poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, and so on. And these 17 goals represent the real world problems. And in order to solve them, you require knowledge of several different disciplines because they are very complex. For example, climate change. You cannot solve problem of climate change alone with the knowledge of climatology, political science. You need all these disciplines, economics, green technology, sociology. So from here comes the concept of multidisciplinary education. Because, multidisciplinary education will allow students to gain a deeper understanding of the subject matter through the lens of different disciplines. That is the thinking, that is the rationale behind multidisciplinary education. For example, if I am a student of only chemistry and I don't know any other discipline, then I cannot solve many problems where chemistry may be required, but then I also need knowledge of other disciplines. And when this United Nations agenda was given in 2015, at that time, our Prime Minister said, much of India's development agenda is mirrored in the Sustainable Development Goals. And if you critically examine, most of our policies are aligned with these goals. The same thing happens in G20, where we had this meeting recently. Its work is also aligned with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And ultimately, aim is to build a sustainable future for the humanity. And one of the goals is quality education. Goal number 4, where we talk of ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. So here the words come: inclusive, equitable, quality education, and lifelong learning. And all these are there in our new education policy. This goal was announced in 2015. Policy came in 2020, but it is aligned with that. And therefore, it won't be wrong if we say that the various provisions of NEP 2020 are based on Sustainable Development Goal 4. So, you have to understand the connection of these things. That's what I really want to tell you. First, I told you the challenges of information age. Now you understand the problem of sustainable development. And the next challenge is, what are the 21st century learning needs in the light of all that? See, it is said that in the 21st century, if you have to excel, you need at least two things. One is the rigorous academic content. You should be very good in your subject. And then 21st century skills. 21st century skills are, a set of abilities which each one of us must have if we want to succeed and thrive in the 21st century. This will lead to deeper learning. Now, what are these 21st century skills? These are the 21st century skills you can see. They come under three categories: learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. Under learning skills, we have four: critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, 4 C's. Then under literacy skills, information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy. And under life skills, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. So taken together, these are 12 skills. You should have all these skills. See, when I say that these are skills, that means these are practical things. You should not have the knowledge of these things. You should be skilled in all these. You should be a critical thinker. You should be information or media literate. You should be flexible. You should have leadership quality. And why these skills have become so important? Because machines cannot replicate them. Artificial intelligence cannot replicate. Only those humans who have these skills, they will have an added advantage. They will also help you in elevating your job performance. For example, you are professor and then you are skilled in all of them. Yes, your level will go up. So you can understand the importance of 21st century skills. So, we need to acquire competence for excellence through quality education. Therefore, quality education in the 21st century needs to focus on these things. This is a very important slide. Because we in our colleges or universities impart quality education, aim to impart. And it should focus on these three things. Knowledge we have been giving. So you need to give disciplinary knowledge, interdisciplinary and practical, wherever possible. Then 21st century skill, which I just told, and then domain-specific skills. Every subject has some skills associated with it. Then your personality matters, values, attitude, traits. And these three things taken together determine your competence in any profession. That is why, many colleges, universities are introducing skill enhancement courses or value-added courses to strengthen second or third point. They are building adequate infrastructure. They are trying to create conducive learning environment so that all the three components are imparted to the students and they emerge as competent individuals, fit for any profession. So the goal of quality education should be to acquire competence. And this slide summarizes what I just said. You need to have knowledge, you need to have skills, you need to have personality. And please remember, if one of these three is weak, it will adversely affect your competence. And these days, we also talk about outcome-based education. See, outcomes come from where? Because when you impart knowledge, it either goes in knowledge or in skills or in personality. So outcomes are also the mixture of these three things. These are the various competencies. So you can very well understand the importance of quality education. Now I come to the fourth challenge, and that is, in India, we need creative and innovative minds. I personally feel there is a crisis of innovation and creativity in Indian education system. Look at the fact, no Indian scientist working in India has been able to get Nobel Prize after 1930. C.V. Raman was the last person who got it for in physics for discovery of Raman effect in 1930. Nobody has ever got it in chemistry. These people did get Nobel Prize, but then they were non-resident Indians. Even Amartya Sen, although he is an Indian, but for years he has been working abroad. Abhijit Banerjee is an American citizen. So, one has to really think. One may say that Nobel Prize is not that important, but why not? It is important also. You cannot deny it. Because whenever the Nobel Prize is given, it means it is for a breakthrough which changes the course of human history in so many ways. So, one thing you have to keep it in mind that Nobel Prize is not a lifetime achievement. That's agreed. And if you want to excel in research at that level, you need many things. And these include enormous amount of creativity and open-mindedness. This is a must for research. Willingness to collaborate, which is also lacking in us. We look at everybody else as our competitor. Therefore, it becomes difficult for us to collaborate with others. And even if we will always be suspecting something. Then perseverance and resilience. We sometimes want immediate gain. That may not be possible. Some people work for years and years. A Nobel Prize winner, I remember in chemistry, he got Nobel Prize only when he was 97 years old. And then you need to be resilient. Resilient means failure, setbacks will occur. You should bounce back. Take it as a normal thing. That also needs to be taught. And these are the reasons sometimes why we are not very good in our world rankings of our universities. And one of the major reasons for this is poor quality of our research programs. See, I personally feel from my vast experience, we don't teach our students for becoming better researchers tomorrow. There is no special training given to them. This out-of-box thinking, etc., is never encouraged. Only aim seems to be to pass the examination, get very high marks, and go to the next. And it's correct that best students sometimes don't come to research. This was the report presented in Rajya Sabha, that best of the science students are going to civil services. Of all the candidates recommended for All India Civil Services during 2017 to 2021, over 76% were from science stream, covering engineering, sciences, and medicine. Only 23.6% were from the humanities. So the question is, why we are lacking in research? And it has to do with our education system. There is something fundamentally wrong in our education system. And we are all teachers. We have to think over it. And the fundamental flaw, you just watch this video.
For decades, people have been finding hundreds of flaws in the education system. No conceptual understanding, no creativity, children are stressed, and the list goes on. All these are symptoms. But what is the root cause to all this? What is the fundamental flaw in the education system? Let us play a rapid-fire game. You have 1 second to answer every question. Let's start. First question. A4? Okay, no more questions. Did you think apple first? 98% of people are most likely to think so. Because that was what we were told in our kindergarten. Imagine that this was done differently. Say we had asked you for all the words starting with A. Ant, ace, April, apt. Different answers would have popped out of everyone's head. Do you see where the problem is? Before children start going to school, every child is unique. Every child thinks different. But the education system makes every child think the same. This is the fundamental flaw in the education system. Why did this start? During the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, the education system was designed to make children ready to work in factories. The factories did not require people to think, but to only work like robots. So, the education system stripped children of their freedom to think and destroyed their true potential. The same education system continues even today. Only the industries have changed. A study by NASA shows that 98% of children think different before they start going to school. As they go through this education system, at 25 years of age, only 2% think different, and 98% think the same. So how does the education system make every child the same? Let's go back to the apple example. Kindergarten lessons told us that A is for apple. We asked you for words that start with A. Our education system gave us the answers. We asked you a question. Answers make you the same. Questions make you different. Right from kindergarten, the education system keeps giving answers. Instead of asking children how plants make food, the science teacher gives you the definition of photosynthesis. Instead of asking them to describe the sun, the teacher tells them that the sun is a ball of fire at the center of the solar system. Through their years in school, children lose the capability to think on their own. Whether it is their choice of career or their relationship or any situation in life, they become.
So you can see how our education system strips the children of their ability to think on their own. Because they are always given ready-made answers, and the same things are asked in examination. So they reproduce, that's all. Hardly they have to think out of the box. So one can understand the real problem with our education system. Our education system is outdated. It does not encourage thinking, innovation, and creativity among students. And please remember, without creativity, there can be no progress, and we would be forever repeating the same pattern. So next challenge, which I think is, because we are all imparting higher education to the students, we need to enhance the quality. See, if you look at the education system in India, three things are very important in any educational process. What do we teach? That is the curriculum. How do we teach? That is pedagogy. And how do we assess? That is assessment. So these three things are very important. But if you look at India's education system, we have 21st century students, but the content which we teach sometimes is of 19th century. Methods of teaching, assessment methods, courses, architecture, all outdated 20th century one. So we have not changed much with the changing times. That is the real problem. Look at curriculum. Curriculum basically is what? Curriculum is the total learning experience in any program. It's like the menu which we offer to our students. And the biggest challenge to curriculum comes from the growth of knowledge. The knowledge in all disciplines is growing very fast. So fast that the doubling time of the growth of knowledge has shrunk considerably. Shelf life is becoming shorter day by day. See, there was a time when human knowledge was doubling in 150 years. But now human knowledge is doubling just in 73 days. So you can very well imagine how soon our knowledge is getting outdated. It is said in the modern time that the curriculum becomes outdated as soon as it is created. And what we know in any discipline is merely a drop, and what we do not know is an ocean. That explains everything. That is why the new education policy says curriculum needs to be modern, but light, so that there is more time for thinking. And modern is required because knowledge is growing very fast. Outdated syllabi will not work. They increase the gap between what is learned and what should be learned. And they affect the quality of research. See, if today we are not able to become leader in any field, one of the reasons is the outdated syllabi in our education system. What we teach and where the world is, there is a big, big gap. And then there is also a lack of coordination between school and higher education in India. So look at this person, Professor C.N. Rao, Bharat Ratna scientist. He said 90% of the universities in India have outdated curriculum. Teachers don't change. And one of the reasons why they don't change is because tomorrow they will also have to learn new things, because they have not themselves learned those things while they were students. That's the real problem. In the modern time, the way the world is, we need to have skill-based and industry-led curriculum. World is shifting towards skill-based economy. There is going to be more emphasis on practical knowledge and hands-on experience rather than the theoretical knowledge. And then teachers also need to be equipped accordingly. See, teachers teach skills in the same way as they teach knowledge. This will not work. Knowledge is theoretical, knowing. Skills are practical. They need different approaches for teaching. And the way the skills are becoming important in the world, it is now said that the future belongs to those who learn more and more skills and combine them in creative ways. Then comes pedagogy. Pedagogy is how we teach. Here, the role of each individual teacher is very important, because pedagogy is the art and science of teaching. We still sometimes follow the talk and chalk method, traditional one. This is a teacher-centric approach, mainly a monologue method. You can't explain many concepts on the board. It presumes that all students learn in identical fashion. That may be wrong. There may be some slow learners, some fast learners, just average learners. Then you can't solve many problems in the class due to the paucity of time. And then the whole process is very slow and time-consuming. And then in any classroom, we have many students, so it becomes difficult to pay attention to each individual. So you can see how our system works. And then the focus is more on examination, rote learning, and scoring high marks. This is very unfortunate. Today also, I was looking at CBSE results of 10th and 12th. So many thousand and lakh students with more than 90% or 95%. That is the focus. This is today's reality. Nobody wants to learn concepts. Everybody wants to learn how to get 90+ marks. See, irony of our country is we still focus on well-filled mind. Fill the mind with more and more knowledge. There was a time when we used to say that person is very knowledgeable. A knowledgeable person need not be a very creative person. What we need is a well-formed mind, which comes out of thinking, innovation, and creativity. Because real education must transform the learners. Just as you transform, you start from seed, you get a plant, from plant, you get tree, like that. That's why, these days people talk about learner-centric education. Learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of the activity of the learners. Engage the learners in various activities, and they will learn a lot. Once they will do with their hands, they will learn more. And that is the thinking behind learner-centric education. Students learn best when they are engrossed in the topic, motivated to seek out new knowledge and skill, because they need them in order to solve the problems at hand. And all this is possible in this information age. Experiential learning, there is a lot of focus. Again, it is a learner-centric education. That is why fostering experiential learning and critical thinking among students is an important objective of NEP 2020. And this experiential learning needs to be adopted at all levels, starting from even kindergarten. Because if we do at higher education level, I think that's very late. Students are already grown up. They are already 17, 18-year-old by the time they come to the first year. You can't change them much. No. And learner-centric is not any particular method of teaching. All these project-based learning, problem-based learning, inquiry-based, flipped classroom, collaborative learning, TPS strategy, travel, museum, internship, UG research program, all come under learner-centric education. Because learner is engaged. There is no teacher in all these to teach them exclusively. So please remember, once we start following learner-centric education, which you will have to follow, the roles of the learners will change. In the traditional talk and chalk method, they are just passive learners. But now they will become active, highly independent, and creative thinkers, because they will do with their own hands. Look at these universities, Harvard, Stanford, Wharton. In all of them, focus is more on case studies, experiential learning, project-based, problem-based learning, very little focus on lecture-based learning. That's why it is said, if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday, we are going to rob them of tomorrow. You will have to change. So it's going to be a big challenge for all of you. Why it is a challenge for you? Because you have been taught maybe by traditional talk and chalk method, but for the sake of future generation, you will have to change your method. That's why it is a challenge. You will have to change with the changing times. This is my article in Education Times, Creativity Crisis in the Indian Education System. This is about flipped classroom model. And third comes assessment. How do we assess our students? Because they will determine the learning outcomes of the students. And NEP 2020 says we need to transform the culture of assessment. Because, assessment drives learning. The way you assess your students, students start learning in that way. So that can be a very good way to enhance the quality of education in the country. If you look at our examination system at present, it is mainly rote-based, mainly about textbook content and the testing facts, definitions, and procedures which are given there. Anything which comes outside the textbook is branded out of syllabus or even protested. That is what our examination system is. And even traditional exams don't assess the skills which industry needs. We are lacking in this. Therefore, assessment process needs to be made more scientific to encourage multiple skills of the students. Which skills? Analytical thinking, critical thinking, conceptual clarity, etc. And in all this, please remember, teachers can play a very important role. See, we have about 4 crore students in higher education. They appear in various exams. If you set right type of questions, the quality of education system can change. So your competence, your creativity, your skills matter a lot. Look at learning part. See, cognitive learning, when we acquire knowledge, cognitive learning is a 6-level hierarchy. This is called revised Bloom's taxonomy. It starts from the bottom, remembering, then understanding, then application, goes up to creativity. So these are the 6 learning outcomes. So cognitive learning takes you from lower order thinking skill to higher order thinking skills. So whether that cognitive learning is successful or not, that can be assessed by setting questions which determine these 6 learning outcomes. But generally we do not do that. The best thing is for lower order thinking skill. Look at the lower order. Remembering, understanding, application. You can have MCQs, short question, answer, match, fill in the blanks. They will test that. Okay. But for higher order thinking skill, MCQs will not work. There you can have projects, internship, e-portfolios, fieldwork. So a ideal assessment will be the blend of these tools. And now look at our world. Most of our major exams in the country are MCQ based. And these have some serious limitations. They can't test your analytical skills. They can't test your writing skill, your speaking skill. All those things are missing. And then they sometimes encourage guessing. Because out of the 4, 1 is to be correct. You can always sometimes guess. Because it may not be possible to give 1 correct answer and 3 distractors should look similar. That's also a challenge to develop. And the 6th challenge, which I feel is important, is you need to embrace technology and become tech savvy. This every teacher will have to do. Because it is difficult to imagine education without technology in the 21st century. See, my whole talk is about various different challenges. And this I'm telling you in the beginning because you have to be aware of all that. Even NEP 2020 says that the relationship between technology and education is bidirectional. Technology enhances the quality of education, enhanced quality of education further improves the technology, so they feed on each other. And technology has already changed our education. You must have seen during Corona pandemic. But please remember, excessive use of technology should be avoided. Because technology should be used strategically to benefit the students. Excessive use, has impacted adversely the generation of original ideas and hence creativity in students. Students have stopped thinking. They have even forgotten to write with their own hand. That is also a serious drawback of use of technology. For every small thing, they use technology. But technology has changed the world, no doubt. Look at these. All these are the changes which technology brought about in higher education. Teaching learning has changed. E-learning, MOOCs have become very popular. Experimental work is done through virtual labs. Revision of syllabi you can do very quickly through email, discussion forum, video conferencing. So many ICT tools have come which can help you in research. Assessment of students is generally online. National Testing Agency has been created. Professional development of the teachers, you can see. We are training you through online. And then ICT empowered pedagogies have come. So things have changed. There is no doubt. And in all of them, teachers have been involved. So you need to become tech savvy. And then please remember, technology in education is a journey. As more technology comes, education scenario will change further. That is what artificial intelligence is doing. It is going to redefine the education in the world. Artificial intelligence is already revolutionizing the way we teach, learn, and research. So this is an additional front which has been opened for us. And we have to work in this direction. But please remember one thing, technology is only an enabler. It doesn't have a brain of its own. It will help you realize or achieve the vision which you have. And please remember, technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers can be transformation. If you are a great teacher, and if you are also tech savvy, that combination can bring about a big transformation. This was my report in Times of India. Technology won't replace teachers. And then in the light of what I have said, the roles of the teachers are also now going to change. I told you in the beginning, traditional roles of the teacher, if you remember. But now we are going to have the new roles of the teachers. And roles of the teachers are now going to be all these. You have to become tech-savvy teachers in ICT skills. You should have 21st century skills, artificial intelligence skills. This is the need of the hour. Students are enrolled in e-learning or MOOCs. If they have some queries, who will answer? You. So you must learn how to manage virtual classroom and discussion forum. You need to engage students by learner-centric pedagogies. That means teachers now will become more like a coach or mentor or facilitator rather than knowledge provider. There was a time when teacher was considered to be the source of knowledge, but not now. Now there are many sources of knowledge. So that front gets diluted. That's why new roles are emerging. Then you should also be proficient in the development of e-content and MOOCs. Who will develop MOOCs? Who has developed MOOCs? It is the teachers. We have about 4,000 MOOCs on SWAYAM platform. All of them have been developed by the renowned teachers. So you should have a good mastery over the subject and then excellent writing skills. Besides communication and presentations, that you can be very good in this. So these are the new roles on which you will have to focus. See, what I would say, a transformation of teachers is the need of the hour. A change of mindset is required. Don't think that what I know is enough. No, that will not work. I must learn more. There is a famous quote, birds born in a cage think flying is an illness. That should not be the thing. So the key to meeting all the 7 challenges which I have told you lies in the regular empowerment of teachers. Don't attend any course just because it is a service requirement. No. The way the world is changing, the way the education scenario is changing, you need to keep on doing all these courses, regular empowerment. And now I come to the last part where I will just share some personality development tips for enhancing your competence. See, if you remember, I showed this slide earlier. So far, I have focused mainly on skills and knowledge. Personality component I have not touched. But this is a must for enhancing your competence. If you are weak in this, this will affect your overall performance in any job. And personality, I mean a set of traits and behaviors that characterize an individual. Personality doesn't mean your looks. Let's be very clear. And why personality is important? Because 87% of all people fail not because of capability, but because of personality. And the worst part is they don't know that their personality is coming in the way of their job performance. This is very interesting. Personality development is neglected in India. See, when we were young students, nobody told us. Everybody thought that everybody would have some personality. The family in which you are living, from there you imbibe certain values and then they become part of your personality. There was no formal training. Even in IAS, civil services, the interviews, sometimes we used to call it personality test because they will find out how you react to any situation. And importance of personality can be judged from the fact that it influences almost every aspect of human life. Therefore, I am giving importance to personality. Therefore, I would like to share with you some personality development tips in the form of life lessons to enhance your competence. This is based on my personal experience. but they can be a game changer for you. Because you are very young. And one thing you should remember, the older you become, the more difficult it becomes to change your personality. At young age, still it can be changed. And please remember, life can only be understood backwards. But then it has to be lived for. This is something you have to remember. Look at this grandma telling the small daughter, life is only a short trip, enjoy it. Life looks like an eternity, but actually it is just a short trip. So this is something you have to keep it in mind. You should all learn the art of living. We have come in this world to live. But it's very unfortunate that most of us are only existing. Living has become very rare. Please remember, you only live once. But if you live it right, then one is more than enough. The art of living basically means the capability to draw pleasure from life and to succeed in the greatest test called life. You will never find a happy life. Please remember it. You will have to make it by your mindset. There is no perfect life, but you can always fill it with perfect moments. This was the report which came in Indian Express only recently. India ranks 126th out of 143 nations in World Happiness Index. People here are not happy. They are stressed, thinking always something, worried. Always, thinking more about future and then spoiling their present also. Because there is no formal training in the art of living. And the art of living lies in the fine mingling of letting go and holding on. Sometimes you have to let go things, sometimes you have to hold on. That's the art of living. To mix that. Look at this quote. दुनिया जिसे कहते हैं जादू का खिलौना है, मिल जाए तो मिट्टी है, खो जाए तो सोना. That's what people think. Look at life. They are more worried about that what they could not get. Count your blessings any day. Sit down and count your blessings, which money cannot buy. You will feel that you are very rich. But we don't do that. And please remember, life will never be fair. जिंदगी बहुत कुछ देकर भी किसी ना किसी चीज के लिए फकीर बनाए रखती है. Nobody will be fully contented. Once something is fulfilled, then you will start striving for something more. And life will never be fair. Please remember it. So having said that, so how to live life? You should be proactive in life. This is my first advice. If you are proactive, you will focus on preparing. If you are reactive, you will end up focusing on preparing. You should think well in advance and then work accordingly. Proactive people don't wait for the ship to come in, they swim out. That's how they make preparations well in advance. And in your goals, in your life, work hard sensibly. This is very important. In respect of working hard, direction is more important than speed. See, all of you are very young. You are all assistant professors. You may have the ambition to go to the top, become a top academic leaders. So what direction to follow, that is very important. Choose your direction very carefully. It's very unfortunate that people spend more time planning their vacation rather than planning their career. Hardly people pay attention to management of their career. Of course, you are free to choose any direction, but then you will not be free from the consequences of your choice. Life is a process. No one rises suddenly in the world, not even the sun. So choose your direction, work hard in that direction, be persistent, have a never give up attitude. And then in this journey, have self-belief is very important. Believe in yourself. A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because her trust is not in the branch but in her own wings. That's the self-belief. And self-belief ultimately makes self-confidence. And the person who believes in himself will have no need to convince others. See, this self-belief is like the fuel of your vehicle of journey. And then in life, you will achieve many things. Never become arrogant. This is my advice. Sometimes a small success goes into a person's head and the persons become arrogant. See, arrogance and confidence look alike, but there is a difference. Because confidence comes from self-belief, arrogance comes from ego. And the worst part is arrogant people don't know that or don't consider themselves as arrogant. But please remember, arrogance is the surest path to failure. कभी किसी चीज का घमंड आ जाए तो शमशान का एक चक्कर लगा आना, तुमसे बेहतरीन लोग वहां राख बने पड़े. Just do this. Remember, you are dust and to dust you shall go. Keep this reality of life always in mind. You will never become arrogant. देखिए, इस चीज को ध्यान रखिए, समय और भाग्य पर कभी अहंकार मत करो, क्योंकि ये दोनों परिवर्तनशील हैं. In the blink of eye, everything can change. You would have never thought that this could happen. And that happens in life. And then in your approach, self-discipline helps you a lot in life. This can be a master stroke for you if you are self-disciplined. Self-discipline means mastery over your thoughts. If you can control what you think, you can always control what you do. So, discipline your mind. Because there is nothing in this world that can trouble you more than your own thoughts. That's why it is said, cages are not made of iron, they are made of thoughts. An average person thinks 70,000 thoughts a day. Just imagine. So if you have self-control, self-discipline, yes, you can master your life. You can master anything. Start practicing it. Start practicing it. Very difficult in the initial stages, but then you will become the master of your life. And then it will also make you mentally tough. Because sometimes in life, you need to be mentally tough, especially in the face of adversity. So self-discipline will prepare you for that also. And always strive for excellence. Please remember, a penguin can never become a giraffe, so try to be the best penguin you can be. You become a teacher, outstanding teacher. A researcher, outstanding researcher. Any field you may choose. See, I always say, every line needs top people. Mediocrity won't survive. You should not be like one in the crowd. You should be, a totally different person. Therefore, you should always strive for excellence in any line you want to go. And then always be positive and honest. Always positive thinking. Look at this, 11 marks out of 10. Height of positive thinking. Positive thinkers will always have a solution for every problem. Negative thinkers, a problem for every solution. And such people exist in society. You come across them daily. And then many of us in life are not able to make a big mark because very soon they start living in the comfort zone. Oh, I am getting good salary. My husband or wife getting good salary. Children are well set. Why should I work? This is a very common perception. That means you are in a comfort zone. Please remember, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. It's only after you have stepped out of your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, or transform. And this fear of failure is also very common, which becomes sometimes a stumbling block in your growth. You need to overcome that. जब तक तुम डरते रहोगे तुम्हारी जिंदगी के फैसले कोई और लेता रहे. Overcome the fear of failure. Failures can be the pillars of success. See, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure should be taken as a part of success. It happens. So it's up to you how you look at failure. You can use it as a stepping stone. Fail is, after all, first attempt in learning. And your attitude towards failure determines your altitude after failure. Please remember that. And then worry is a very common thing in most of us. Stop worrying and start living, because worry is a misuse of your imagination. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And it's very rightly said that one day you will look back and realize that you worried too much about things that don't really matter. But by the time you will realize already the time would have gone, you can't undo that. So the best thing is you worry about the things which are in your control and don't worry about the things which are out of your control. What is in your control? Your attitude, your effort, your focus. And what is out of your control? What others will think, what will happen in future, what will be the outcome of my effort? Why bother about that? Again, a mindset is required. And take risks in life also. This is my advice to you. Sometimes, you need to lose small battles in order to win the war. Take risks, be courageous. Be prepared to lose if you want to win in life. And here, a small advice to all of you young people. Create a sense of urgency in your life. This can change your life. See, if you give yourself 30 days to clean your home, it will take you 30 days. But if you give yourself 3 hours, it will take you 3 hours. The same applies to your goals, ambitions, and potential. Because work expands according to the time available. So you can create a new life for yourself by creating more urgency in your current life. And things will change. Try to do it. Control anger. This is normal emotion, but please remember, whenever you get angry, just immediately think of this picture. The fire of anger burns you first. And whenever you are angry, never say mean words out of anger. Your anger will pass, but the mean words can scare a person for life. Use either kind words, or better, show strength and be silent. Because it requires a lot of strength to remain silent when you are angry. And please remember, psychology says beneath anger, there is always some fear. Whenever you are angry, think of this. There is always some fear in your mind. That is why you are getting angry. And this is a very useful practical tip for all of you. किसी पर ज्यादा नाराज होने से बेहतर है कि अपने जीवन में उसकी अहमियत को ही कम कर. This is the best thing you can. And closing now, time management is very important. Everybody gets 24 hours a day. The secret to your success lies in how you well manage the time. So try to maximize your performance in the shortest time. Every day is once in a lifetime. Invest time, don't spend it. Look at the quote of Amitabh. कल खो दिया आज के लिए, आज खो दिया कल के लिए, कभी जी ना सके हम आज, आज के लिए बीत रही है जिंदगी कल, आज और कल के. That's how the whole life will pass. This is a very, I like this quote very much. बंदी है हाथ पर सबके घड़ियां मगर पकड़ में किसी के एक लम्हा भी नहीं. And time spares no one. Just watch this.
समय की धारा में, समय की धारा में मरी है जानी थी जो घड़ी थी जो घड़ी थी वही रह जानी थी है।
So you see, all these were big celebrities, mass following, so many fans. How time changed. Just see. Therefore, prudence demands that we should live only in the moment, because the present moment is the only moment available to us. And it is the door to all moments. Life becomes more meaningful when you realize the simple fact that you will never get the same moment twice. So live in the moment. Make the best use of life, please. And one thing more, you will meet many people in life. Keep this thing in mind that inside every person you know or meet in life, there is always one person whom you don't know. You will never know a person completely. It is impossible, even in your family. And then have a high opinion of yourself. Having a low opinion is not a modesty, it is self-destruction. Think high of yourself. Yes, it is a necessary precondition for happiness and success. See, you may not be perfect in many things, but many things cannot be perfect without you. So stay special in your own little ways and make a high opinion of yourself. So ladies and gentlemen, you will agree at the end of the day, your biggest competition is with you only. God created us to make the best version of ourselves. Be your own king. You should not become the puppet of your mind. You should become the master of your mind. And you are a king if you know how to rule yourself before you think of ruling others. You don't have the problem. You are the problem. Your mindset, your attitude is the problem. स्वर्ग भी तू है, नर्क भी तू है. इन दोनों का फर्क भी तू. जिंदगी छोटी नहीं होती, लोग जीना ही देरी से शुरू करते हैं. जब तक रास्ते समझ में आते हैं, तब तक लौटने का वक्त हो जाता है. So, this, talk can be a life changer for you. Just follow these. We learned all these things very late in life. Nobody taught us these things. And then it's never too late to be what you might have been. Challenges keep us fresh. There is a very famous quote, a ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. Similarly, humans are not designed to be happy in status quo. So continue to remain dissatisfied so that you can become better and better. Because challenges are what keep us fresh. Don't take every challenge as a problem. Take every problem as a challenge. Because challenges are the opportunities in disguise. They are the doorways to excellence. There is a very famous Chinese proverb. Yes. When the winds of change blow, some people build walls while others build windmills. It's up to you how you make use of the opportunities. And these are the habits of the most successful people in the world in diverse fields. Strategic planning and deliverance, laser-sharp focus and determination, risk-taking ability, courage, hard work and consistency, never give up attitude, and then health and fitness. Things end, people leave, time passes, memories fade, feelings change, and you know what? Life goes. That's how the life is. One day you will be just a memory for some people. Do your best to be a good one. And this is the last slide. जिंदगी के रंगमंच पर अपना किरदार इतनी शिद्दत से निभाएं कि पर्दा गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती रहें. क्यों? क्योंकि जिंदगी नहीं मिलेगी दोबारा. So leave an impact so that the generations remember you. Yes. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you. Please give your feedback. This is my cell number. This is my email ID. You can always remain in touch. And all the best for the success of this program. And I'm very sure this is going to be a great learning experience for all of you in this entire program. in these 8 days. You will learn a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this enlightening session to all of us. And you have again given the entire overview, and it has been a motivational part for the personal. I can see Professor Sujan Varghese also joining. So
Hello, Susan. How are you?
we can see so many comments coming also. So maybe today we will not have time further for any question. But yes, quick 1-2 question we can take. Meanwhile, Professor Vidprakash sir joins.
Any question, any comment, any suggestion, anything, most welcome.
Sir, comments तो बहुत सारे आ रहे हैं. You can see in the chat.
Acha, okay.
Yeah. So
But if they want to say also something,
I think Saloni wants to speak. Saloni, you try unmuting.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Saloni, be louder. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I am an assistant professor in Dr. Deva Patil, Pune.
Okay.
Yeah, so my basic question is, I learn and I thought so many things about research, but my main question is, now you said कि we are youngsters and all things, okay? But my main question is कि ऐसा क्या है, like if किसी को research में interest ही ना हो, like research is very deep and very creative thinking and also interest area भी वहाँ पे matter करता है. If you are a good teacher, you are a deep learner, all that thing, but you don't have any interest in research, तो इसका as a teacher क्या effect होगा, like positive, negative, neutral? Is there any?
देखिए हर एक आदमी का हर एक चीज में इंटरेस्ट हो ये जरूरी तो नहीं है. तो अब आप टीचिंग में अगर बहुत अच्छे हैं, स्टूडेंट्स आपको अप्रिशिएट करते हैं, स्टूडेंट्स आपके गुण गाते हैं और आपका इंटरेस्ट भी है, आप नई नई चीजें खोज के उनको पढ़ाते हैं, दैट इन इटसेल्फ इज ए बिग कंट्रीब्यूशन. तो जो ये रिसर्च में आपका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, इसके लिए आपको हिस्ट्री में जाना पड़ेगा कि आपका रिसर्च में इंटरेस्ट क्यों नहीं क्रिएट किया गया. आपने पीएचडी कर ली है?
नहीं.
अच्छा, अभी आपने पीएचडी भी नहीं करी, तो किस सब्जेक्ट में हैं आप? साइकोलॉजी. तो अगर आपने पीएचडी भी नहीं करी तो आप अपनी सर्विस में पीएचडी तो करेंगी ना? हाँ, वो तो करेंगी ना.
Only because of requirements and not for interest.
अच्छा, इंटरेस्ट के लिए नहीं करेंगे, रिक्वायरमेंट है इसलिए करेंगे. तब आपको पता चलेगा कि रिसर्च के लिए हमें क्या क्या चाहिए होता है. सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज तो मेरे ख्याल में जो रिसर्च के लिए है कि आपको उस लाइन में डालने वाला कोई एक लीडर हो जो आपको गाइड करे कि कैसे करना है. आपकी नॉलेज बड़ी साउंड होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि रिसर्च के तो आजकल बहुत टूल्स आ गए हैं, लेकिन रिसर्च का प्रॉब्लम, किस प्रॉब्लम पे आप रिसर्च करें, उसके लिए आपकी क्रिएटिविटी होनी जरूरी है. और वो क्रिएटिविटी कहीं ऊपर से तो आएगी नहीं, वो तो आपको पूरा लिटरेचर सर्वे करना पड़ेगा, कई पब्लिकेशन देखनी पड़ेंगी, रेफरेंसेस देखने पड़ेंगे, तब आपको लगेगा कि ये कौन से प्रॉब्लम पे मैं वर्क करूं. तो वो अभी मिसिंग है आप में. तभी ये कहा जाता है कि क्रिएटिविटी के लिए आपकी एक्सपर्टाइज, नॉलेज बहुत ज्यादा हो, मोटिवेशनल स्किल्स हो, क्योंकि क्रिएटिविटी इज लाइक कनेक्टिंग द प्रीवियसली अनकनेक्टेड डॉट्स. सबसे चैलेंज रिसर्च में क्या होता है कि एक ऐसे प्रॉब्लम को फाइंड आउट करो जिस पे भी आप काम करना चाहो. तो वो आपको तभी पता चलेगा जब आप अपनी साइकोलॉजी की फील्ड में बहुत सारा पढ़ोगे, फिर आपको टीचर भी गाइड करेगा, जब आप पीएचडी भी करोगे तो फिर आपको धीरे धीरे वहां पर पता चलेगा. तो हम लोग कई बार अपने सुपरवाइजर के ऊपर इतना डिपेंडेंट हो जाते हैं कि हम अपनी सोचने की शक्ति खो बैठते हैं. वो टीचर, सुपरवाइजर ने जो कहा ये कर लो, आपने वो कर दिया, वो कर दो, क्योंकि आपका उस समय एम होता है कि किसी तरीके मेरी पीएचडी हो जाए और सर्विस रिक्वायरमेंट हो जाए. आपका कोई बड़ा इंटरेस्ट नहीं होता, वो तो एक खाना पूर्ति है ना आपकी. तो वो थोड़ा आपको अभी टाइम लगेगा. आई थिंक यू आर लिटिल यंग. और एक मैं भी ये एग्री करता हूँ कि हमारी टीचिंग अपने स्टूडेंट्स को रिसर्च के लिए तैयार नहीं करती. जनरली हम उनको मार्क्स लेने के लिए और अगली पोजीशन करने के लिए उसके लिए ट्रेनिंग करते हैं. ये भी एक हमारा ड्रॉबैक है. सो दैट्स व्हाट आई फील. थैंक यू.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, sir. And I'll request Professor Ved Prakash, sir, I think he has joined. So please, sir, if you can switch on your video, we can, yeah, welcome, sir, also. And Professor Sujan, you'll give some formal thanks to Professor Bakshi also. Yeah, good morning, sir, and please welcome to this
Good morning.
NEP batch that we are starting today. This is the 11th batch that, sir, we are starting today. So,
Morning and good evening both, sir.
Good evening, Professor Bakshi.
See you.
Good to see you.
so we have amongst us Professor Ved Prakash, sir, who is the former chairman UGC. And before we invite sir, Professor Sujan, you like to say thanks to Professor Bakshi also? Yeah, because I think I came in between. So you are on mute, Professor Sujan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm unable to unmute, ma'am.
No, you are audible. You are audible
Okay.
now.
Audible, no? Good evening, all of you, Professor Ved Prakash ji, Professor Bakshi sir, Professor Vimalra ma'am, and all other faculty members joined from across India. Good evening to all of you. Once again, we are very happy to have Professor A.K. Bakshi sir. We were delighted to hear once again your thought process and the presentation skill which you have portrayed through your presentations, and endless and matchless presentations you make it. Even till today, we are unable to make with a vibrant colors like red and black and with a yellow. So even like at this age also, sir, you are able to do so much and contribute towards education and to educate the people like us, and to so that we can also come up like you all, and to have and to contribute towards the society and also to the students to build our nations. So I believe and I trust we try our level best to contribute to our level best. That's all we can assure you, sir, to have a only positive attitude and to have a good personality to create an impression wherever we go and move around and whichever society we address and we live in, and to have an even the electron is unique in every aspect. Why not the macro particle like each one of us? When you said that we have to be unique and special and we do not to be a copycat and as we are the masterpiece or our almighty, so we try our level best to have that that uniqueness through our teaching and learning and through our assessment skills what it is entrusted the system in us. Let us imbibe and show to the world and to the society and the small microsystem like our college teaching the students that yes, we are unique, you can also be unique. Like this is what's the takeaway from today's class for me. And I similarly, if we ask all the faculty members, they must have many more to say about your class about that today. So without delay, sir, thank you once again. This is the heartfelt gratitude to you for
Thank you very
giving
much.
another one more lecture. You are very useful and informative and lecture and enlightening us with your kind words. Thank you once again, sir. Good evening.
Thank you once again, Professor Bakshi, sir. And
Thank
now I will again welcome Professor Ved Prakash, sir. And let me just share his brief profile, although again, sir never
It's not
allowed-
needed every time you do that.
He
I think
doesn't
it's
know.
fine.
Sir,
It's-
we
it-
have
it-
different batch, and this will be enlightening for our younger colleagues. You could hear there's so many young entries in the profession also. So looking at your profile, I think they will really get motivated. So please allow me, sir. So we have next session by another stalwart of higher education, as well as I will say school education is a perfect blend, starting from NCRT and going to the highest position in UGC as chairman UGC. So Professor Ved Prakash sir has
Oh.
more than
Ajay,
40.
can you allow me to tell them today about myself?
या डेफिनेटली सर कुछ रह जाएगा तो फिर मैं ऐड करूंगी.
No, you don't have to do that. Don't step into my my session.
Sir, please.
She is trying to tell you for your motivation my journey. It has been indeed very exciting. I come from a very humble background and I started my journey as a research assistant with the Association of Indian Universities. Then I became a research officer with the National Board of Examinations. And after that, I became a lecturer in NCERT. I served NCERT as a lecturer, reader, and professor until 2000. Then I migrated to the Planning Commission as education advisor there. So I was advisor education in the Planning Commission for some time. After that, I transited into the University Grants Commission as its secretary. I worked there as secretary. After that, I went to the World Bank. I worked with the World Bank. I also worked as staff joint director in the Staff Selection Commission with the Government of India. And after that, I was shifted to the NEPA as its director. We transformed that into a national university in 2006. I became the vice chancellor there. I was again shunted to the University Grants Commission as the vice chairman, and then I became the chairman. It all happened because of the grace of God. Nothing is special in me. I think it's also a matter of luck and some work. But the only point which Vimal wants to try to make is that you can reach to greater heights provided you are very focused and provided you work really hard. Getting into the job should not mean that you stop your learning and that you stop aspiring for senior positions and work for that. I think we must always aspire for the top slot in the chosen field. And if you have chosen teaching as your profession, there would be many more opportunities for you provided you really work hard and continue to ensure your relevance in the teaching profession. That's all. So
Thank
today,
you so
what
much,
I'm
sir,
going
for
to do
doing my
today,
work. But
it's okay, Vimal.
yeah, thank you so much, sir.
What do you want to say?
I just want to add that it's
I
really
think the younger
interesting.
generation should know that a person who has started his career as a research assistant can also reach to greater heights. I mean, um, it's all because of the Almighty and because of the opportunities that you get into a democracy, actually. I'll say that. So we must respect the ideals of our freedom struggle, the way we got democracy, the way we have democratized our institutions. That that's it, I think.
And sir, I
So
just add one more thing. You mentioned humble background. Along with that, the way you have improved your language delivery and oratory skills, I think this is something remarkable
ऐसा
that you
कुछ नहीं
should
है,
be
ऐसा कुछ नहीं
also
है. Nothing is
telling
special.
our students that you worked upon it later on. And it's like, really, it's like crystal clear words that you chisel out from your. So over to you, sir.
Language, I believe that, I mean, the kind of divide that we create into rural and urban and scholarly background and non-scholarly background, this is our own creation. Language can be learned at any point in time, provided there is a will and there is a determination. And this is what we need to teach our children, that they should not have that kind of fear that they come from the government setup. They are not the proud product of the so-called public schools, I mean the private schools. So and we should try to pick up as many languages as possible. We have a wonderful opportunity in our country. In 1960s, actually, it was decided by the political system at that time that we must implement the three-language formula, which was not implemented in letter and spirit, and as a result of which, I mean, we have not been able to do. We become very emotional insofar as the use of language is concerned, and we bring in the parochialism, which hurts the interest of the country at large. Anyway, um, thank you, Professor Vimal, and thank you, Professor Susan, for being with us this evening. For you, yeah, it is evening. For me, it is early morning. I do not want to spend this time sharing all that we have proposed in the new national education policy. You may ask me questions once I'm done with something which I consider would be far more important for you to know. I would like to share with you the global trends today vis-a-vis the Indian higher education system, which will give you an idea about how higher education has been shaping up globally and where do we stand insofar as our own Indian higher education system is concerned. I would begin with this that society has played a very prominent role in education from early times to date. Most of the leading institutions of the world are the creation of the society. Globally, the society is known to have contributed in various ways. It has been in the form of donations from philanthropists, from alumni, from foundations. It may also be in the form of instituting the scholarships, providing research grants, creating infrastructure, and establishing chairs, etc., which you may all be aware of. Initially, if you go back into the history, initially, I mean, education was confined to teaching and learning of language, relation, and preservation of intangible assets of the nation state. In fact, the society has contributed in immense measures to provide the basic structure of education, including the widespread use of structures of disciplines which we created by the end of 18th century or early 19th century when we started dividing domains of knowledge and in the name of physical sciences, life sciences, mathematical sciences, earth sciences, etc. I will tell you that first time the world leaders together took cognizance of societal aspirations after World War I in 1924, when they assembled in the city of Geneva, uh, um, it was not a universal declaration of human rights, actually. That came 24 years later. But for the first time, they recognized the significance of education. And they made three observations: that it should be made available to all, and that those who are backward must be supported by the nation state, and that the basic education should be made compulsory and free of charge. But nothing much had happened after 1924. The world was again pushed into another war in 1939, which continued until 45 or 40, 46, 47. After the end of World War II, the world leaders, they again assembled in the city of Paris this time. And they came up with a Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted by the UN on December 10, 1948. This was a historic moment, actually, when keeping in mind the societal aspirations, all the countries had agreed on the freedom and equality, protecting the rights of every individual everywhere on this planet. I would like to draw your kind attention to Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that everyone has the right to education. There are 4 assertions, and see the significance of those 4 assertions, and how the people have, how the nation states have taken them into serious consideration and evolved their own education system. The first assertion is that education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. The second one was that elementary education shall be made compulsory. The third part of that declaration is that technical and professional education shall be made generally available. And look at the fourth part, which is very important for all of you to know, that higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. You can see the distinction between the earlier 3 assertions and the last assertion of the Article 26 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I mean, they knew the significance of quality, as a result of which they have said that it should be accessible, equally accessible to all, but it should be on the basis of merit. And therefore, there's no question of universalization of higher education, unlike school education, which lays the foundation during the initial stage. If we carry out, now I'm going to tell you how the countries have evolved their own system, and so that you can take some insights out of it. And you can realize where do we stand, what needs to be done, and what is all that is required in order to reckon with globally insofar as the higher education system is concerned. If we carry out a dispassionate analysis of the education system of the developed economies, we can see a common pattern, be it United States of America, Great Britain, Germany, Australia, Singapore. All of them have universalized their school education, all of them. And they have created outstanding system of technical and professional education. I mean, Germany is a model for the entire world committee. When it comes to higher education, they have ensured that merit takes the precedence over everything else. They have not run after the universalization of higher education. Until this day, no nation on this planet has ever attempted for the universalization of higher education, because they think that it is not needed. What is needed is the quality. If we carry out the analysis of our own system, we find that we have been still struggling with the universalization of elementary education, let alone 12-year school education. For the first time, we have committed through the national education policy that we are going to universalize the school education. But we have made a deafening silence insofar as the extension of the Right to Education Act is concerned, neither upward nor downward. We have not been able to provide technical and professional education to the eligible population until this day. Our higher education hardly comes into the reckoning at the global level. UNESCO has been championing the right to education at all levels, including higher education. Of all the UN wings, I think I truly admire the work done by the UNESCO across the countries, actually. UNESCO believes that tuition-free public higher education is an important step in this direction. Free access to quality higher education for all appears imminent for realizing the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is to be realized by 2030, as per the consensus of all the member states. UNESCO argues very forcefully that removal of tuition fees in higher education increases both the social demand and also the level of educational attainments. You can think through it at your own level. How would it increase the social demand, and how would it increase the level of educational attainments? Because you are tapping a larger pool. You are not leaving the talent which is available with you. Talent is a time-tested theory, is not available only in the city of Bangalore or Bombay or Madras or Delhi or Calcutta. Talent is evenly distributed in a sizable section of the society, provided the nation makes a commitment to identify that talent and to nurture that talent. UNESCO has conducted a survey of 146 the survey was conducted by the UNESCO actually in 2021, I think, by involving collecting data from 146 member states. And this survey reveals that there are 41 countries which have already mandated free higher education by law. Mind you, I mean, they have mandated free higher education by law, and 41 is not a small number. Against this, there are 97 countries which do not offer any guarantee for free higher education. Free higher education is available everywhere. It depends upon the potential of the individual learner. Even here in US, where I'm sitting today, if you go to MIT, which happens to be the most prestigious institution of higher learning, if you have the potential, then you get education for a song there. To go to any leading university in the United States, the education for you would be absolutely free. I mean, there are different models. There are 8 countries which have not provided the data out of 146 member states of the UNESCO, because their decisions like this are taken not at the level of the federal government, but at the level of the provincial government. If you see the economy of various countries, if you analyze them on the basis of the income, then it reveals that there are 20% of the low income and lower middle income countries have mandated free higher education. So it's not, it is the political commitment actually. How do you love your people? The affluence does not matter much. So 20% of the low income and lower middle income countries have mandated free higher education. I mean, there are high income countries which have not mandated free higher education. So the insight is that it is the low income and lower middle income countries that need special global attention to provide access to free higher education. Where do we stand if you compare yourself with the global standards? For long, I mean, we have had a policy of providing higher education either through public institutions or through grant-in-aid institutions. And these institutions, during my time, they were not motivated to make profit of any kind. And thus, with the government support, they provided higher education at an affordable cost for nearly half a century since independence. Centrally funded higher educational institutions are still providing free higher education to some select group of students like scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and OBCs. They are not charging the tuition fees. They are charging the admission fee, some development fees, which is very nominal. We also have some states in our country which provide free higher education up to the postgraduate levels for girls and socially deprived sections of their domicile. You have to be a domicile of that particular state to access free higher education from there. The situation in our country had changed since 1990s actually, with economic liberalization, privatization, and globalization. This has led to slow but steady withdrawal of the state from higher education. It has led to rapid rise in high fee charging higher educational institution. This process started with professional education actually, but it soon engulfed all kinds of and all types of higher education institutions. Today, we have public institutions which are charging higher tuition fees in the name of self-financing courses. So what has happened in our country is that the cost recovery has now become a norm than an exception because of the steady withdrawal of the support from the state. I mean, we can derive certain insights out of this kind of an analysis, which lets us know where do we stand and what needs to be done. If more than 46 low-income group countries can mandate free higher education by law, then I think we should think about it. The global data report also shows that the past decade has seen a significant growth in enrollment, although millions around the world are still not having access to higher education. Enrollment has increased in all groupings, but at different rates. We have about 238 million students enrolled in higher education globally. 23 करोड़ के करीब, 23 या 24 करोड़ के करीब. The worldwide gross enrollment ratio in higher education has increased from 19% to 40% in the last 2 decades. Such a big jump. I mean, we have about 88,000 higher educational institutions which are operating worldwide. We have about 4,000 in USA, 3,000 in China, close to 1,200 in Russia, close to 300 in UK, but when we look at our own number, we find that we have 56,000 higher educational institutions in our country. So we are the largest system of higher education in the world in terms of number of institutions. If you look at the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, you will find that there are countries wherein the gross enrollment ratio in higher education is as high as 85%. If you look at the profile of the OECD countries, you will find that the gross enrollment ratio in those countries is as high as 76%. China has gone far ahead of us. In China, the gross enrollment ratio is close to 60% now. The world average is 40%, and we are still squatting at 28% of the gross enrollment ratio in higher education. Let us see how have we fared, insofar as Indian higher education system is concerned. A beginning was made by Raja Ram Mohan Roy in the city of Calcutta, when he, along with some of his fellow colleagues with creditable reputation in the society, when they approached the then Governor General Warren Hastings and appealed to him to articulate a policy on education. He did not do anything, Warren Hastings, but Raja Ram Mohan Roy, with the help of his own fellow colleagues, set up Hindu College in Calcutta in 1817. That was the beginning, actually, insofar as the modern Indian higher education system is concerned. That Hindu college later on was renamed as the Presidency College, and today it is known as the Presidency University. This development inspired other leaders, and they set up more than 50 colleges before 1857, when we set up these 3 universities in the port cities of Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. These are the colleges like Elphinstone College, Hooghly College, Agra College, Madras Christian College. And these colleges at that time were awarding only the finishing certificate or the completion certificate. And that certificate was good enough for the people to go and study in places like Oxford, Cambridge, Paris, anywhere. So high quality higher education, the point that I'm trying to make is high quality higher education in our country has come through private initiatives in the form of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, which was established by Jamsetji Tata in 1909. Shanti Niketan, which was established by Thakur Rabindranath Tagore in Bolpur. Banaras Hindu University, which was set up by Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. Aligarh Muslim University, which was established by Sir Syed Khan. Today, we have the largest system. We have, as I said, about more than 56,000 higher educational institutions. In terms of number of institutions, we are the largest, and second largest in terms of enrollment. The enrollment is now close to 43 million, which means that about 4.3 crore children are enrolled in higher education. We have different sets of institutions, central universities, institutions of national importance, institutions deemed to be universities, state universities, state private universities. We have about 1.5 million teachers engaged in the sector of higher education. We have now set a goal in the national education policy that we are going to raise the gross enrollment ratio in higher education to 50% by 2035. It means that every other person in the age group of 18 to 23 or 24 shall be in higher education, as compared to every fourth at the time of drafting this national education policy. We have made a good progress, but we took about 75 years to attain 28% gross enrollment ratio. And now we have envisaged in the national education policy that we will take it to 50% in the next 15 years, which to me seems to be a doable proposition, provided we maintain an annual growth rate of 4% in higher education. Only then we would be able to achieve this goal that we have set up. Otherwise, we will not realize this goal. And for that, what is needed is that we'll have to maximize the residual capacity of existing institutions, because we have a large number of institutions wherein the enrollment is very low. We will also have to set up the newer institutions in areas where the institutional density is much lower than the national average. We have pockets in our country wherein the institutional density per 100,000 population is less than 12. But we also have certain pockets wherein the institutional density per 100,000 population is as high as 46 or 47. If you look at the gender equality, globally, we find that the access to higher education has increased at a faster pace among women than men in the last 2.5 decades. The gross enrollment ratio increased from 19% to 43% among women. compared to men from 19% to 37%. But women's participation globally in STEM subjects, I mean science, technology, engineering, medicine, mathematics, it remains 18 percentage point lesser in women than men. Globally, worldwide, the share of women researchers is 33%, whereas in leading countries like US, UK, it is more than 40%. For instance, in United States of America, it is 44%. Sorry, it is 44%, and in European Union, it is 41%. In UK, it is 27%. Let us see, where do we stand? Why I'm making these comparisons is so that you can know where do we stand and what we need to do. Women participation in our country has also shown upward trends in higher education. There are states in our country wherein the participation rates of women is higher than that of men. For instance, the state of Tamil Nadu. For instance, the state of Punjab. The girls have outranked the boys in terms of enrollment. In our country, the average gross enrollment ratio of women is 28.5% average and 28.4% of boys. So there is a very subtle difference, but it varies widely across the states. Though girls' gross enrollment ratio varies, but we find the gender gaps continue to exist both in countries' top institutions and in STEM subjects. If you see the number of girls in the premier institutions like IITs, ICERs, IIMs, you will find that their participation rate is much lesser than that of boys. The gender gaps are more pronounced in rural areas. There are persistent challenges of access and equity that need to be addressed to achieve parity insofar as the participation rates of girls is concerned. Even though, I mean, we are one of the most productive scientific nations, the number of women scientists is only 16.6% of the total researchers, which is far lesser than the leading nations. Among other measures, it also requires greater focus on improving the transition rates of girls at a school stage. Unless we divert girls to basic sciences at a school stage, how are they going to get into the post-secondary sector? And unless we increase the transition rates of the girls, I mean, from secondary to post-secondary, we will not be having greater participation in disciplines like science and technology and engineering and mathematics. So the interventions would be required not only at the level of higher education, but also at the level of the school education. And which is why it is necessary for us to ensure linkages between these two sectors of education that we have, which are working in isolation, in fact. Higher education does not know what is happening in the school education sector. And the school's education sector is not aware of the fact that what are the inadequacies in higher education and how they can be bridged up. So if you look at the participation rates of the children with physical disabilities, I mean, we are very, very poor. See, globally, if you see, there are about, if I give you the example of the US and UK, about 18% disabled students holds bachelor's degree in the United States and about 17% in the United Kingdom. And the reason for that is you go to the campuses of these their universities and you would find the kind of facilities that they have created. Even in exact sciences, You go to the physics lab, you go to the chemistry lab, the kind of instruments that they have created, especially for the use of the children with physical disabilities, you will get shocked actually. So unless we create that kind of infrastructure, we would not be able to provide access to the physically challenged children in higher education. Um, we need to pay greater attention on these parameters with a view to increasing their participation rates in higher education. You will be shocked to know that only 6% disabled boys and 3% disabled girls hold bachelor's degree in our country, which is a very poor reflection on us. We have not created, we have not overcome the prejudices. We have not created enough facilities on the campuses of our institutions. Now, I will talk about the skill gaps that are widely happening now. The fourth, and how that has become a challenge for us, and what we need to do, I mean, is for you to decipher that. The fourth industrial revolution has impelled by the rapid advances of the artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, and other emerging technologies that have created skill gaps across all industries. And which is why the industries are crying hoarse that the children we are churning out, the children that we are preparing from our through our institutions, they are devoid of skills. They do not have the skills and competencies which are needed by the modern world. And the challenge is that as technology advances, education system needs to be metamorphosed. It needs to anticipate and prepare the children for the impact of digital revolution on the workforce. For this reason, leading countries have been reimagining their curricular provisions and degree programs to meet the needs of the modern learners. This has brought competency-based education into focus. Lately, the skill gaps have widened at an alarming rate, forcing people to go back to universities to upskill and reskill themselves. We also faced this threat in late 70s and early 80s when we were invaded by the technological advancements. Some of my colleagues, I can tell you, have retired without handling the mouse of the computer. Some of them were very averse to making use of the latest tools which were available because of the advancement of the technology. Leading universities now, in fact, have started developing tailor-made programs even for the non-traditional students. Who are these non-traditional students? Those who are above the age group of 24. They have gone out, they have passed out, they have entered into different vocations, different professions, but now they find themselves inadequate. So they want to come back to the campus to upskill and to reskill themselves. For instance, like you might have done it during the COVID time. You were not used to talking to the children through the electronic media. Some of you might be very hesitant to do that. But then you were forced because of the circumstances, and you have earned that art. Some of you might not be conversant insofar as the preparation of the e-courseware is concerned, insofar as the preparation of a PowerPoint presentation is concerned. But you had to pick up those skills. And therefore, you became a student for a little while. And I will put you in the category of non-traditional students. Now, with the incoming of things like virtual reality, with the onset of the artificial intelligence, with the onset of the machine learning, deep learning, you are again going to find yourself inadequate. And therefore, you would require to upskill yourself. And the universities in the Western world, they are coming up with specific kinds of programs for those who want to come back to them for the purposes of reskilling and upskilling themselves. Where do we stand actually insofar as this aspect is concerned? Skilling has not been a success story in our country, despite its relevance and greater demand. There have been several reasons for its failure, like poor status perception, ill-equipped institutions, non-availability of the tools, techniques, lack of teacher preparation, etc. NEP now has given a new hope. Policy has recommended that by 2025, at least 50% students both in school and higher education would be given the exposure to vocational program. So universities need to create proper provisions for both traditional and non-traditional students. Now I come to the role of technology in education. Let us see, I mean, we have been using smart electronic devices. You go and queue up before the Apple store in order to buy the Apple 15 version and those kinds of things. But and you are using it, but you are not able to make use of all the provisions that are made in Apple 15 model. Technology has played an important role in this society, actually. We are living in an era where technological advances are more common than anything else. In fact, there is a race going on between education and technology. And this race will continue to accelerate in times to come. Leading universities have been promoting the use of digital tools like I was talking, artificial intelligence, powered learning, virtual reality, augmented reality, gamification, cloud computing, social media in learning, adaptive learning, automated assessment, etc. You will be surprised to know that when I came here in this country in 1989 as a Fulbright scholar, this country was making use of the CAT technique, computer adaptive testing technique, in late 80s. We are still ignorant about it. We have introduced in a very modest manner, but still we are far behind. The online learning is gradually becoming more prevalent today. Some universities are offering full degree programs in online modes. Some are using online programs to augment and complement their conventional programs. If you see what we have done, in fact, we had started using the GSET 3 facility to provide long distance education in 2004. And prior to that, the IIT consortium, along with the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, they had started a program which you might be aware of, which was known as NPTEL, National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. And the idea was to help the institutions offering the engineering programs and located in far-flung areas. UGC had also launched the EPG Pathshala program under EICT in 2009 and developed undergraduate courses and the postgraduate courses. The idea of online mode of delivery in Indian university system was mooted by the University Grants Commission in 2016. I was a part of it at that time. permitting universities to deliver only 20% of the course content through online. And at that time, we had thought that let the universities prepare themselves adequately. Only then they should offer program on a 100% basis. But because of the emerging demand of the university system, and because of the trend that is seen globally now, the UGC has brought out an integrated regulations to enable universities to offer full-fledged online undergraduate program in 2020. Now, any university with the NAAC CGPA of 3.26 and above, and having a ranking in top 100 in 2 of the 3 preceding years in the university category, they can offer 3 undergraduate and 10 postgraduate programs in online mode. But I feel that as of now, there are very few universities that can honestly fulfill all technical, academic, and social requirements. See, along with this also comes the social responsibility. I mean, you can start an online program, but if your children are not having access to the smart devices, then it will be of no use. And the responsibility lies on the individual institution, I mean, to provide those kinds of devices, access to those kinds of devices to the children if they are enrolled. Otherwise, we will be creating, again, very substandard kind of workforce in our country. The issue of diversification is also becoming very, very prominent at the global level. Diversification of campuses in terms of students, diversification in terms of faculty recruitment, and diversification in terms of the curricular provisions. Countries which have addressed these concerns have become the most sought after destination for higher education. The number of international students has tripled in the last 2 decades, actually. Today, we have about 6 million international students. And the most sought after destinations are like the United States, which has continued to remain the most sought after destination for a century, actually. Australia, UK, Canada, China, Singapore, they continue to attract large number of international students due to their proactive policies. We are attracting hardly 47,000, 48,000 international students, and large number of international students come to us from the neighboring countries like Nepal, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, UAE, etc. And that too only in limited courses like engineering, business administration, and basic sciences. I think we need to work a lot to attract a greater number of international students. Another important trend which is figuring out, and we are losing out on that, is the flexible learning pathways policy frameworks. Global trends in higher education shows that institutions are working hard to come up with flexible learning pathway policies, keeping in view the uniqueness of individuals' learning trajectory. These policy frameworks prove to have widened the participation, which is why they are becoming very popular. They have provided better responsiveness to diverse student needs. They have improved general level of education in the society, in the respective countries. They have helped in career progression. They have strengthened equity in progression of studies, and they have increased the success rates on the campuses of their institutions. There are about 75 countries that have put in place that type of policy framework. We are still, I mean, if you look at historically, the Indian system suffers from rigidity in terms of curricular provisions, time, and space. Now we have introduced the policy of multiple entry and multiple exit. We have also brought out a couple of frameworks like the National Higher Education Qualification Framework, National Credit Framework, Academic Bank of Credit, National Skill Qualification Framework, National Occupational Standards, recognition of prior learning, etc. But I think it might take a while before they get institutionalized. But we cannot escape if we are to internationalize higher education and if we are to diversify our campuses, which is the need of the hour. Similarly, if you look at the global quality in higher education, quality in higher education, please remember that it is a multi-dimensional, multi-level, and dynamic concept that relates to the contextual setting. We have not been able to articulate quality in education thus far. There was a conference held in China in 2019, wherein the world leaders tried to articulate the quality in education, but they could not come up with a universal definition of quality, because quality happens to be a social construct, and it always remains a moving target. And which is why we are not able to, though we have identified certain parameters, and those parameters are profitably used by the um, uh, global quality assurance agencies, by the global ranking agencies, but much leaves to be desired actually. These bodies are laying greater emphasis on qualification framework, curricular development, etc. We have also introduced, if we look at our own system, in your institution, you may be having an internal quality assurance cell to set quality benchmarks. We have national level accrediting bodies like NAC, NBA. We have also introduced now NIRF in 2015, using broad parameters for assessment and accreditation. Institutions are now ranked under different categories: university category, college category, even discipline-wise categories, etc. Global ranking is also putting a lot of pressure on institutions throughout the world, actually. It has the downsides, it has also the positive sides. Global rankings are based on certain parameters like academic reputation, expert opinion, a number of faculty student ratio, number of international faculty, etc., etc. If global ranking is taken as a criterion for quality, there are only a few countries that continue to dominate at the international level. I would request you to look into the QS Global Ranking of 2024. The time will not permit me. I think I've already taken 60 minutes. I will leave some time for questions and answers. But let me tell you quickly that if you look into the QS Global Ranking 2024, you will find that of the top 10 universities, 4 are from the United States, 4 from Great Britain, 1 from Switzerland, and 1 from Singapore. And if you look at top 50, again, you will find that the American universities are capturing the ace positions, followed by UK, followed by Australia, China, Canada, and Japan. We are nowhere. IIT Bombay, which is our premier institution, got 149th rank of all the Indian institutions in the QS Global Ranking of 2024. You will see the list and you will know the standing of the individual universities which have participated in 2024 Global Ranking. Around 90 Indian institutions had participated in that. If you look at the research trend, you will find that US universities continue to dominate the global scenario. There are about 260 more than 260 research-intensive universities in this country, actually. There are about 6.3 million researchers. They are publishing more than 700,000 academic papers per year. The state of US universities in global research turns out to be 17%. But how is it happening? It is happening because US, which has such a humongous economy, they are spending 3.46% of their GDP on research. Why the UK universities are leading? Because the UK is spending 2.91% of their GDP on research and development. Why Chinese universities are doing better? Because China is also spending close to 2.5% of their GDP on research and development. And interestingly, there are countries which are much smaller, like Israel. Israel is the country which is spending the maximum 5.56% of its GDP on research and development. We have very few research-intensive universities in our country. We need to increase that number. Our share in global research is 8.05%. And but look, how much are we spending? We are spending only 0.65% of our GDP on research and development. We need to invest. The lesson we can take from it is that we need to invest much more to increase our standing at a global level in terms of both volume and quality of research. I'm underlining these two. I'm qualifying my statement. Volume is one, but quality is another one. And we have to focus on both. I think I can talk about financing, the kind of financing model these leading countries are having, and the kind of financing model that we have. United States of America is spending more than 6% of its GDP on education, and look at the size of the US economy. Australia is also spending more than 6%. Canada is spending close to 6%. UK is spending more than 4%. China is also spending more than 4%, but we are still hovering around 3.5 or 3.6% of the GDP on education, which includes all the three sectors: elementary education, secondary education, and higher education. I think the decreasing funding from the states and federal government is making the lives of our universities and colleges miserable. We need to set up a fresh committee to ascertain the quantum of resources that we require for the present setup. We have created a very gigantic system of education in our country, which is not a mean achievement, actually. A special focus should also be made for the empowerment of the faculty so that they can develop exciting proposals to enable universities to enable themselves to meet the deadlines and helping institutions mobilize additional resources. Universities are run on the strength of professors, actually, here in the United States. They have to bring resources, they have to bring projects from different organizations to add to the kitty of the university coffers in the US. So, I mean, there are challenges insofar as our own system is concerned. We have an acute shortage of faculty. We have shortage of access, equity, rising cost, and reducing revenues is creating another problem for us. We need I mean, there are disciplines wherein the enrollment is declining in our country. That is a matter of great concern. I think we need to come up with high opportunity programs, which are in areas like behavioral sciences, computing, mathematics, technology, healthcare, cybersecurity. The diminishing quality of research is a great concern for us. And we have to harmonize the relationship across the different modes of delivery that we have resorted, because now we have a combination of the conventional face-to-face mode of delivery. We also have the open and distance learning mode of delivery, and now we have also switched over to online mode of delivery. The job market is making a profound influence on enrollment trends in certain areas of study over the past few years. If we are not going to anticipate these changing trends, I think we will be lagging behind. So higher education leaders will have to envision the anticipated shifts and take timely measures in order to strengthen our own system. The the last point that I would like to say is that all this needs to be done from micro level to meso level to macro level. The macro level is the national system that we have created. The micro level could be at the level of the individual department of a college or a university, and the meso level could be at the level of individual institution. The last point that I would like to say is that the key lies in continuous adaptation and evolution of educational offerings. It would require a dynamic approach in this ever-evolving economic landscape with this full support of the society and the government. I was really I will not say surprised, but quite excited to know that a university, which is a very prestigious university close to my residence, and that is the Stanford University, and another one is the Berkeley University. They are, I mean, the most leading institutions of higher learning. I interacted with a curriculum group. And that curriculum group is designing the curriculum which these institutions would require in 10 years from hence. They are anticipating the trends. They are coming up with those kinds of programs and curricular provisions which the world would require in 10 years from hence or 15 years from hence. And whilst interacting with the faculty members, I asked them that how can you envision, how can you make predictions that what the world would require in 10 years from now or 15 years from now? And they said that if we are able to envision 25% of that, it will be a great success for us. So universities and university institutions at the global level are doing those kinds of things. I think we also need to learn lessons from the leading institutions of the world, and we should see that under the existing physical and the social conditions, what best can we do? We may not be able to transfer the entire technology to our campuses, but what best can be done could be ascertained by us and should be done by us. So with this, I have given you some kind of a flavor about the global scenario insofar as the higher education system is concerned. Where do we stand? You can, for you, I mean, you can take some insights out of this presentation. And now you may be having some questions in your mind. I will take questions. So over to Professor Susan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for being a very patient audience.
Yes. So the faculty members are appreciating your talk and they are writing it's a very informative and useful talk, many of them.
Okay.
And is any of you have any kind of queries related with higher education system in India and abroad or in global scenario?
Susan, let me, lest I forget, let me
Yes,
let me tell them
yes, sir.
that they must read a lot.
Yes.
They should know what is happening in the world in their area of specialization, and they should take little they should take small steps actually to do something on the campus of their institutions. The social and physical conditions would never ever be favorable. We will have to do a little under the trying conditions. And those who have done it, they have made a mark.
Yes.
See, when Lady Marie Curie tried to crystallize radium out of pitchblende, you know where was she working? She was working in a shanty. She did not have proper ventilation in that. And she did not know that she is going to come up with such a great invention which will revolutionize the world.
Yes.
And look into the history of that woman. The only scientist until this day who has got 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different domains of knowledge, physics and chemistry.
That's true.
And I'm inspired to share one of her, a quote from her acceptance speech when she was receiving the 2nd Nobel Prize. She said, and I quote,
Yes.
"Nothing is to be feared in life.
Yes.
It is only to be understood.
Yes.
And now is the time to learn more so that we can fear less."
Yes.
Unquote. Okay, so I would want each one of you, to see the historical development of the higher education. You have to play a very important role. You are at a stage when you have come up with the new national education policy. You can introduce certain reforms because there is a tempo build up now, and you can find a role for yourself. How can you contribute insofar as the revision of the choice-based credit system is concerned, revision of the national skill qualification framework is concerned? How can you contribute more efficiently and effectively insofar as the introduction of the 4-year undergraduate program is concerned? How can you identify areas of research wherein you can make an impact on the society? See, if we are not able to bring out qualitative improvement in the lives of the people, then we are not doing our duty. Higher educational institutions are the organizations which have always shown way to the society and taken the society to the next stage of development globally. I think each one of us has that responsibility. You will suffer from the shortage of funds. You will suffer from this kind of support that is required to move forward, but you have no choice. You have no choice. You have to make a mark, and you have to identify a role for yourself at the departmental level, at the institutional level, at the state level, or at the national level. So that is what I thought that I would like to tell them.
Yes. Yes.
Not tell them,
Sir
I would like
Nitin,
to share with them.
Dr. Nitin is asking at the age of 42, can he pursue fellowship program?
Yes, there are a number of fellowship programs. Let me tell you that one of the fellowship programs which you can access in the category of teachers is the Fulbright Fellowship. Okay.
Yes.
I am the beneficiary of that fellowship.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And there are very many such fellowships actually. Let me tell you that there are some Western countries which are encouraging these kinds of things. And with very limited support from your side, you can take advantage of those schemes and programs, provided you keep your ears and eyes wide open. And now the internet provides you that facility. You can Google what are the institutions which are offering. For instance, Norway is offering higher education programs free of charge.
Yes.
And when I was the chairman of the University Grants Commission, I sent a batch of about 70 students from India there. And let me honestly tell you that I myself was ignorant about it.
Yes.
Okay. So there are umpteen opportunities for those who want to do something in life.
Mm. Yes.
And you are so fortunate to have entered into a profession wherein whatever little you do, it adds to your qualifications. Whatever little you do, the credit will go to you. That kind of privilege is not there in other sectors of services. आम के आम और गुठली के दाम वाली बात है. If you write a good research paper, it adds to your qualifications. You get known to your fraternity, and it gives you so much of satisfaction. When you create something, creation gives enormous amount of satisfaction to the human beings, actually. Okay, any other question, please?
Any other query? I think, sir, everyone has appreciated your talk.
It's late evening
So-
for you, Susan, isn't it?
Yes, sir. So
They must be hungry. They must be hungry. And then we have a very
So-
special character that we are always shy in asking questions.
So excuse me.
Okay, you can be so, but encourage your children, your students to ask questions.
Sir,
That has
excuse me.
been
May I ask?
That has
Yes,
been a
yes,
very
please.
old technique of teaching and learning. In Aristotle's time and in Socrates' time, we did not have the kind of technology that we have today. The teaching and learning used to take place only through oral communications.
Sir, Kavita is asking, is NEP will bring opportunity for teachers? In which aspect, Kavita? Can you unmute and ask your question?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. Please ask.
Yes.
Kavita ji, the NEP has thrown up multiple challenges. And along with the challenges come the opportunities. So it is for you to face those challenges. I have highlighted some of those challenges. For instance, one of the challenges is, to switch over to different modes of delivery. One of the challenges is to, implement the 4-year undergraduate program with the greater efficiency. One of the challenges is to align the undergraduate programs with the master's level program. Another challenge is to revisit the choice-based curriculum framework. Another challenge for you is to come up with the subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes so that we can overcome the kind of disparities that exist across the institutions in our country. A university is conducting the examination, university is prescribing the curriculum, university is prescribing the syllabi, and number of colleges are affiliated with the university. But the product of each institution varies. It depends upon the quality of teaching and learning that takes place in a particular institution. So how can we overcome the kind of disparities that exist is a huge challenge before us. These are the challenges before us, but these are also the opportunities for us to overcome those challenges. NEP has thrown up a number of challenges in terms of curricular revision, in terms of anticipating the newer trends, in terms of coming up with the different kinds of pedagogies, in terms of coming up with the multiple techniques of assessment, using multiple sources, using multiple criteria for the assessment of individuals' potential. There are multiple challenges. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other
पढ़ो,
query?
खूब सारा पढ़ना चाहिए लेकिन हम लोग पढ़ते नहीं है. We are not in the habit of reading actually. That is the problem.
Nida Kumari also raised her hand. Please ask.
Sir, good
Yeah,
evening
Nita.
to you.
Netaji, yes, please.
Am I audible
Yes.
to you?
Yes,
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 please. Yeah.
Nida.
So actually,
You.
as you insisted upon researching, so what fields should be in English literature to give the proper benefit to the next generation? As new ideas we people are not getting sometimes, and this is the big problem. What we need to produce as interesting and mind-blowing if we want to show our caliber into research.
Netaji, we should not be undertaking the mundane kind of research work. Okay. We should, what is the purpose of research? The purpose of research is to create new knowledge.
Yeah.
Which means that the outcome of your findings would add to the body of existing knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And therefore, accordingly, you should do that. You should prioritize it. But that body of knowledge should also have educational implications. And therefore, it is wisely suggested that you can prioritize your research areas in consultation with your fellow colleagues and in accordance with the social and physical conditions where your institution exists. Okay, that is one way of doing. The another way of doing it is that you can look what is happening around the world in your area of specialization. And then how can you join that group at the global level? And what is that is required to do that? I mean, once you set a goal for yourself, you also need to identify the means to realize that goal. What would be appropriate means for that? So this is how, I mean, you can do it. I cannot specifically suggest you, and I think that is what Professor Bakshi was saying, that we should not be looking towards the supervisor all the time. We must make use of our own creativity, our own understanding, our own thinking
Yes,
for
sir.
when we are deciding the research topic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Neetaji.
Okay. So then, sir, shall I express vote of thanks?
It's not needed, Sojan.
No,
I
but
think,
again, sir, it's
listen.
sir.
So, Sojan,
Sir.
Sojan, this is the time for you to
No,
enjoy
sir.
your
One word. In
dinner.
one word, I would like to. One word to express our
Okay.
gratitude to you, sir.
No one can stop you and Vimal. You are very persuasive.
Sorry, sir.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
So you spoke about the genesis of higher education in the world and also in India. And you again spoke about the timeline of establishing universities, especially in India, and the role of UNESCO in education sector. And you spoke about the Geneva Summit and the Paris Summit. And whether you again given us statistics about the free higher education providers, the country's name, and with the statistics. And again, you brought it into our notice, the gap exists in the skill education sector, and in the gender gap exists in female and male component of the educational system. And again, the issue of diversification of campuses with respect to students, and diversification of faculty, and internationalization of higher education, And again, we know that in India, although many countries offer free education to school as well as the higher education, but in India, in some states, we provide free education up to class 10 and up to class 12. In some states of India also still they have to pay. So we always find still, even after 75 years of independence, GAD ratio is still 28 by 30. We are like the government plan is to increase by 50%. So this is also one of the challenges as in higher education, as in the system, we may face it. And the quality, the assessment tools, the agencies are the NAC, and the NERF in India. There are other main frameworks also, sir has mentioned. Especially although there is no specific definition for the quality for education, but there are certain parameters which can measure the quality of institutes and the students and even the faculty by giving various indexes, like even the staff can be hash index and item index, and various indexes are there, by even faculty can be indexed and ranked. So that is the era we are living. And like sir said, let us look up to a continuous evolving approach. Although you all might be finding it difficult to even implement National Education Policy 2020, but with these challenges, none of the revolutions and none of the programs have been implemented without a criticism and without challenges. So this is another challenge which we have to face, and we have to find out means by which we can pull on and implement this, so that our generations, the next generations, the upcoming generations may be benefited. And for their benefit, we have to learn and get us trained, and let us have a heart to change ourselves and adopt technology as a tool to improve teaching, learning, and assessment method. With that, sir, thank you for enriching us with your wisdom and knowledge, and thank you. So we are also enlightened with your nice words and your vocabulary. And always I say that it is a flawless talk without any presentations. So we have to attend keenly and focus without losing the pearl which comes out of your, the mouth. So thank you very much for spending the valuable time of your morning hours with us to enrich the faculty members of us. So thank you so much. Good evening.
Thank you everyone.
Have a nice day, sir. And for all of us here, have a good evening, and it's a time for us to spend our time with our families and have a good dinner with us always. Professor Vimalra always say, so let us enjoy the evening with our family. Thank you once again. Tomorrow again we'll join at 5 o'clock. Till then, goodbye and namaskar.
Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Wish you all the very best.
Thank you,
And
sir.
good luck.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
So, ma'am, thanks to you too.
Okay, thank you.